welcome to Book 101, the review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a wealth coach and founder of the Investor's Way, none other than Mr. Andrew Woodward.
Hello and welcome and thanks for having me.
Welcome, Mr. Andrew. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, Andrew Woodward from Sydney, Australia. As Daniel said, I'm a wealth coach, and most people say, well, what is a wealth coach? Basically, I'm the person that teaches people how to manage their money and then grow it so that they're in control rather than handing control of their most important asset to somebody else who may not care about it as much as what you do.
Well, Mr. Andrew Woodward, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Hoping for more and more coaching or empowering coaching to come. So today let's talk about the surprising cost not being a financially literate. So tell us, what does the constant low grade harm of financial anxiety to do person's mental health, decision making, and even their physical well-being over time?
Yeah, so this is something that I've been doing this for about a little over 10 years now. And what I've found over the years is that, and it's not obviously rocket science, but money causes an enormous amount of stress. It's probably one of the number one reasons for divorce or separations. And it's just something that because we're not taught at school how to manage and grow our money, it leads to adults who don't know what they're doing with their money, and therefore increases their stress, results in unfortunate outcomes, and ultimately leads to people retiring without enough money or assets to support their desired lifestyle. So in Australia, less than 5% of people will retire with enough money or assets to support their desired lifestyle. And I suspect across other parts of the world that we're seeing similar metrics. And so that's been a part of my mission, is to change those statistics and help people understand how to better manage and grow their money.
How does financial literacy often lead to a deep sense of shame and secrecy, preventing people from asking for the very help they need?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because nobody really wants to, publicly admit that they need help when it comes to their money. So if you look at my social media, you'll notice that I don't necessarily get very many viral posts, but I have many, many, many people say to me, "Oh, I saw your post on this," or "I saw your post on that," and they're just not leaving, likes, comments, or shares, because they don't want to put their hand up in public and admit that maybe they're not where they want to be with their money, and that they actually do need some help. And it's because of, I guess, that modern society seems to elevate people that have got lots of money to a different level of gravitas. And so if you haven't got it, then maybe you might feel as though you're lesser of a person as a result, and that's obviously not the case. And so, that public persona that people see in social media tends to become almost a circular argument, in that there's people out there pretending that they've got lots of money when they don't really, because they're trying to keep up with everybody else that's pretending they've got money when they don't really. So it's a vicious circle of people trying to keep up with others who don't necessarily have what they project in that social media context. And so we've got lots of people out there who are trying to be more than what they are or have, just to impress people that they don't really even know.
We have a limited cognitive capacity. How much daily mental energy is consumed by worrying about money that could be directed toward career, relationships, or creativity?
Yeah, look, that's probably something that's a little bit beyond my pay grade to know the actual answer to that. But I would say anecdotally from the people I talk to and the people I work with that money is something that is constantly on their mind, taking up an enormous amount of energy and space and causing an enormous amount of stress because it's something that is constantly nagging away in the subconscious and the conscious around what are they going to do? How are they going to meet their expenses tomorrow, next week, next month? And how are they going to grow their money so that they're not in that position of stress? And so it's something that I would imagine, without knowing the absolute answer, but I'd say money is something that's on people's minds a fairly substantial proportion of their waking hours.
Why is a financial procrastination so common, and what is the compound cause of delaying a financial education by a decade?
Yeah, look, delay is one of those things that is really easy to demonstrate. And I'll do that in a moment. But the first part of the question about why is a lack of knowledge, and we're not taught these things at school. We're not, we're not taught how to budget. Not that I believe in budgets, but people are not taught how to manage their money initially, so that when they start earning money and more money as their career progresses, they know what to do with it. And so a lack of knowledge leads to people procrastinating or avoiding taking a step because they're fearful of making a mistake or losing money. So again, it's one of those vicious circles where the lack of knowledge leads to procrastination, which leads to inaction, which leads to the poor outcomes that we're looking at and seeing. And that inaction is extremely costly and can be a substantial amount of money. And I use the example all the time of doubling $1 20 times. So and I'm not suggesting that you can necessarily double $1 20 times, but it's the lesson behind it that makes the most sense here. And it's like the first time you double it, it's worth $1. The second time it's worth $2. The third time it's worth $4 and so forth. By the time you get to the 20th time you double, it's worth over $500,000. And the problem is that most people think, well, when I first get started, then the amounts are only small. It's not going to make that much of a difference if I wait, because they're looking at that first double and they're looking at taking $1 and turning it into $2. But what they're really doing is delaying the 20th double, which is worth over $500,000. So whilst doubling $1 is not how we go about growing our wealth, it's about taking those initial steps where the amounts might be small, but you've got to take those initial steps to get to the large numbers. And so delaying is not what you're delaying today, it's what you're delaying in 10, 15, 20 years time that you'll miss out on if you don't get started today.
Mr. Andrew, let's talk about the lost years. How does a lack of financial literacy directly impact a person's ability to retire, potentially costing them years of their freedom later in life?
Yeah, and so delay just means that you're going to get to that age of retirement where you may not have the assets or the money to be in a position to actually to retire. And so I know different countries have different retirement plans and ways that they support people in retirement, whether that's through retirement accounts or government support or a combination of both. But nobody really wants to get to retirement and have to rely on government support because it's never overly generous. And so delaying means, for some, it means working way beyond the retirement age just to put themselves in a position where they've got enough to survive and live on for those remaining years that they're alive. And we work. Most people work so hard for 40 odd years to maybe enjoy life in retirement for another 20 years. And it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be in that position. So what I'm trying to do is teach people how to make retirement something that is your choice and your decision rather than somebody else's.
Interesting, Mr. Andrew. The golden handcuff phenomenon. How does not understanding your finances keep you trapped in a job you dislike, sacrificing passion and purpose for a perceived sense of security?
Yeah, so again, it's a very similar response in that the golden handcuffs are the fact that if you don't have the money or the assets you need in retirement to be able to live from them, then you are going to be effectively handcuffed to a job, and you're going to be dependent on that weekly, monthly pay to continue to live the life that you have been living, but not with the freedom of determining whether or not you keep working or whether you can retire. So that lack of knowledge, lack of action in growing your money and learning how to manage your money and make it grow is going to ultimately have the potential of having you work well past retirement age in a job that you don't necessarily like. And for some people, that is becoming physically difficult, just so that you can keep meeting your expenses in the later years of life.
Indeed. And Mr. Andrew, how does financial literacy act as a silent wealth transfer, moving money from a package of the uniform to the institutions and individuals who understand the system?
Knowledge is power, isn't it? No matter what we're talking about, whatever subject you're talking about, knowledge is power. And so the ones that know how to make money work for them are ultimately going to result in having that money come to them and away from those that don't know how to make it work for them. So, gaining an education on financial literacy and having that as a skill set means you enter the forum of people who can take advantage of the systems in a positive way, so that money flows toward you rather than away from you, and so you're on the right side of the equation in being able to have money flow more easily into your life.
Interesting, Mr. Andrew. And the integration debt. What is the cost to the next generation? How are financial habits and anxieties unconsciously passed down to our children?
Yeah, so we learn a lot about money in society from our parents or guardians, and so if they tend to be good with money, your chances of being good with money are better, but not necessarily guaranteed. But if your parents are no good with money, it's almost guaranteed that you won't be any good with it either, and you'll have to take real proactive steps to be better with your money. So it is a cost, it is a risk that we're passing on bad money education or habits to the next generation. And with the way the modern society is, with the want it now mentality, mix that with a lack of knowledge of how to manage and grow money, and we've got a bit of a mixing pot of disaster if people don't get on top of their money and get on top of the knowledge aspects of how to manage it. And that also leads to the mindset of money as well, and understanding what's going on between your ears, because a lot of the ability to grow your wealth depends on how you think about money and the type of thoughts that you allow in that ultimately lead to the results that we get. So lessons from our parents are important. And if they're not the greatest of lessons, then you need to go outside of that circle to get better ones, so that you can get the results that you want rather than the ones that your parents got.
Mr. Andrew, the earning more is not the answer reality. Why can a high income without financial literacy be more dangerous than a low income with it?
Yeah, that's a pretty common, common problem, and it's called lifestyle inflation. it's where people earn more, so they spend more. And it's we call it in Australia keeping up with the Joneses, where it's about trying to impress your neighbour or impress people in your social sphere because you're earning more money. So you're spending more and more money as well, not necessarily for any wealth creation, but it's all about social gravitas, again, to use that word a second time. But it's about that elevation. So people who earn really good incomes can actually be some of the most broke people that come into my world, because they've just been caught in this lifestyle inflation trap where every time they earn more money, it just meant a bigger house, a newer car, a bigger car, bigger holidays, more frequent holidays, but none of it was actually going to their future self, where you put some aside to grow your wealth as well. So lifestyle inflation is a real trap that a lot of high income earners fall into.
Mr. Andrew, as a wealth coach and founder of the Investor's Way, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
My short-term goals, I'm all about at the moment creating generational wealth for my kids and teaching them how to ensure that they then create it for themselves and pass it on to their kids. My long-term goals are to change the statistics around money and retirement for people who come into my world, and make sure that more and more people are free of money stress, so that they can live the life that they want to, because life is all about the living. And it's not necessarily about money. That's a key part of what I teach, is it's not the money we want, it's the choices that money provides. And ultimately we want to live life and experience life for everything that has to offer. And in order to do that, in most cases, we need to create the money to do that. So teaching people how to experience life and create the money that allows that is core to what I'm all about.
Interesting, Mr. Andrew, and good luck to your goals, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I think it's about getting that financial literacy education, and to bring this back full circle, or to something that was very powerful in my life, was the book Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And it's a 220-page book, which is predominantly about personal development. And he spends the first 92 pages of that book explaining why getting a financial literacy education is so important, because outsourcing control of your money to somebody else has a six-figure impact on your net worth over time. So it's about, for me, my message to people is get a financial literacy education. Know how to manage and grow your money, so you don't have to outsource it to somebody else who doesn't care as much about your outcomes as they do about their own, and therefore doesn't care about your money as much as you do. So having that empowerment of knowing how to manage and grow my wealth is far more valuable than anything else that you can possibly think of when it comes to how you take control of your life and then therefore have the things in your life that you want. So my message, get yourself a financial literacy education and put it into action. So don't let it be one of those things you learn and do nothing with. Make sure it's something you do every single month.
Yes, thank you so much for that advice, Mr. Andrew. And can you please again recommend a book or books that influence you, Johnny?
Yeah, so as I just mentioned, Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And if you're into money mindset, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Those two books really convinced me that what I was doing was the right thing to do, and certainly changed how I think about money and how I teach money. But yeah, they are two of the better books that you can read. They're a simple read, and they will change how you think about money and how you think about financial literacy.
Yes, and thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Andrew. And tell us, take control of your financial future. The phrase that we can see on your website. Can you expand more?
Yeah, so what that's all about is being, the driver of the car or the bus, if you want to use that analogy. It's about, empowering yourself to know what it takes to grow your money, to manage your money, and then grow it. So being in control, being the master of your own destiny when it comes to your money, because unfortunately, too many people, um, I guess, outsource or rely on others for some level of their financial future and what that might look like, and therefore, you're in the hands of somebody else. So, by taking control, by driving the bus yourself, you're empowering yourself. You have a lot more confidence when it comes to money, and if you have a family, you can pass this information on to them and empower them, and before you know it, you're creating generational wealth. So the only way to do that is to have that financial literacy education, and therefore taking control of your destiny rather than relying on somebody else.
Mr. Andrew, can you paint a picture of two people at the age of 25, one financial literate, one not, and what their lives look like at 55?
Yeah, so for the one that's not financial literate, who's gone through life just earning an income and relying on external support. So in Australia, we call it superannuation. Obviously, in the US, it's 401ks. If that's all they're going to rely on, then they may or may not have a position at 55 that will support the lifestyle that they want. And therefore, they're going to have to start making choices that potentially curtail the lifestyle that they've been used to. And maybe they've earned good money and they've been able to live a pretty good life up until that point, but it's always been dependent on that money coming in the door. And as soon as you decide that you want to stop working and retire, or do something different that maybe doesn't earn the type of money you've been used to, you're going to need something to support that lifestyle. And if you haven't been proactive, then you're going to be in a spot of bother. And as I said, you may start having to curtail the lifestyle that you've been used to and accustomed to. Whereas the 25-year-old who's financially literate, who realizes that they can have the lifestyle they want today and spend their money today on things that they want to have, but at the same time, they know that some of that money's got to get put aside for their future self. When they get to 55, they've built up a resource of assets that are producing income that allows them to decide if they want to keep working or not. And they won't necessarily have to curtail their lifestyle because they've built the nest egg that will support them into their later years of life. And that is a significant difference between the person that's been proactive versus the one that's just drifted through life and not worried about what the financial future might look like.
Mr. Andrew, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Andrew, tell us the first step to repay the cost for someone feeling overwhelmed by the cost of their ignorance. What is the single most empowering first step they can take today to stop the bleeding?
Yeah, so this would normally get the response. Someone would normally say, create a budget. I don't believe in budgets. I think they're like diets. They're great on paper, but useless when you need them the most. So the first step that I would encourage people to do is to create a plan for their money. And sure, it looks and smells like a budget, but a plan enables you to then automate. So you can then send your money to where it needs to be when you need it to be there, so that you can have the lifestyle you want today and put some aside for the future. So that plan should go through, your income and your expenditure, and ultimately create a lifestyle or a bottom line where there is some money for your future self. And if there's not, then you've got to look at where your money's going now and realize, how do I adjust so that there is some left each month that I can use for investing purposes to secure my future self. So if you're feeling that money's tight or there's never any left at the end of the month, the first thing is to sit down, review where your money's going, and look at what is likely to be many occurrences of where money's just slipping through your hands without you even realizing. And one of the biggest ones is subscriptions, streaming services, all those types of things where it adds up to hundreds and thousands of dollars monthly and yearly. And if you can just adjust your lifestyle a little bit so there's some left over every month that then can be put into growing your wealth for the future, you'll be a long way ahead of those that don't take that step.
Mr. Andrew Woodward, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or business, or anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Look, if anyone's interested in a really great tool, I've got a free tool there on the website. If you go and have a look on the website, you'll see there's a free tool called the Wealth Tracker, and it's a great place to start.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Andrew Woodward, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering business to come. So, Mr. Andrew, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Maricon people, see you soon.